Hello and welcome to Rathods IAS Academy. Today in this session, we are going to see very important articles that appeared in our today's newspaper. So first of all, let us see the topics of the day. The first topic is merchandise exports surged by 20% as India diversifies trade. This article is important from GS paper 3 under economy. And next topic is 7-judge bench to hear case concerning legislative privileges from October 6th. Here you have to see about what are these privileges which are there in our Indian constitution. And this topic is important from polity. And next topic is Yuva Shakti theme to mark 80th Independence Day. So this article is talking about theme of this 80th Independence Day that we are going to celebrate tomorrow. And next topic here is monsoon session sees multiple lows in parliament productivity. This article is talking about entire productivity and efficiency of this monsoon session. And next topic is a predictable rise. Inflation will remain high in the unforeseeable future. This article is talking about inflation in our country. And apart from that, we are also going to see one more article. It is about Article 22 of Indian Constitution. Okay, read this article title guys. Merchandise exports surge by 20% as India diversifies trade. This article is talking about exports. It is under part of this trade. So whenever you are seeing about international trade topics from economy, we have two components. One is imports, one is exports. So imports are nothing but the goods we are getting from other country into India. Exports means we are producing in our country and we are sending to other country. Those are called as our exports. And this article is talking about exports. So that is around 20% of exports had been increased. So why this article is important? Because now there is issue which is going on in this West Asia. Despite of this West Asian crisis, now there is increased exports of our country. That is a good sign in our economy actually. And why we need to talk about this West Asian crisis? Because we have two important trade routes. One is Strait of Hormuz and one is Bab el Mandab. By using this Bab el Mandab, India can transport goods from India to Europe. So now this Bab el Mandab is also like unstable region, right? So because of this, here obviously we thought that there will be impact on our exports. But what India did is, India concluded many agreements with different countries. And now we are diversifying our supply chains. Because of this, we reached this target of 20% of exports increase. So now let us see what are the destinations of India's exports. Okay, we increased our trade with China, Singapore, Japan, South Korea, Taiwan, Vietnam, Australia, Malaysia. Means are these countries trade routes for these countries are passing through this West Asia? For sure no, they are Southeast Asian countries, right? So now we increased our trade with the Southeast Asian nations. So recently we signed lots of agreements with different countries. With Asian grouping also we had certain advancements, and even we signed free trade agreement with New Zealand, etc. Right? So because of this kind of steps taken by our country, finally we are able to increase our exports. So now here you have to think about what will be the impacts. Now you guys tell me what will be the impacts of increased exports. Is that a good sign or a bad sign? Yes, it's a good sign. So what is the impact? The first one is there will be increased productivity. Because of increased productivity, that will contribute to our GDP. And we can increase our employment opportunities. And we can increase standard of living of people. We can decrease poverty, we can decrease hunger, we can decrease malnutrition. And next, yes, whenever we are exporting more, we'll get foreign currency into our country. That will lead to increase forex reserves. If you are increasing forex reserves, obviously we can improve confidence of foreign investors in our country, so that we can attract good foreign investments also. And not only that, we can increase the value of Indian rupee. What is this concept is called as appreciation. We can increase the value of Indian rupee, and this concept is called as appreciation. Okay. So if you are getting more investments, we can also get more technology into our country. So overall, this will be a good sign for our Indian economy. On this, you may get a mains question. How you can get a mains question? There is increased exports from our country despite of West Asian crisis. In the light of this statement, what are the reasons and what will be the impact? So like that, you may get a question on reasons and as well as impact of increased exports. This is the first topic, and let us see the next. Say this title, guys. 7-judge bench to hear case concerning legislative privileges from October 6th. What does this title mean? What is the keyword? Privileges. So actually, if you want to know the background of this article, so there are many petitions which had been filed in Supreme Court, and the question they asked is whether these legislative privileges, whether these privileges can override freedom of speech and expression, which is a fundamental right, or not. So these are the pending petitions before Supreme Court, and finally now Supreme Court agreed to take that petitions, and it will going to arrange around 7-judge bench, and they will sit from October 6th onwards, and they will try to give answer for this question, whether these privileges can override this fundamental right of Article 19(1) subclass A talks about freedom of speech and expression. So here, obviously, Supreme Court will be giving judgment by the end of October, November, or it may be by the end of this year, they will give the judgment, right? So if you are getting any judgment related to fundamental right, then that will be at most important from UPSC. Why? Because in 2017, what was the judgment about fundamental right? K.S. Puttaswamy versus Union of India. Right to privacy is a fundamental right. From 2017 till 2023, UPSC asked thrice question on that same thing. Article, which article talks about right to privacy? 3 times they asked about question on 21, Article 21. If Supreme Court gives a judgment on these privileges, don't you think it will give question on this right to freedom of speech and expression? For sure it can give. So you have to keep star mark for this Article 19 this time and Article 22. Article 22 and Article 19(1)(a) is very important this time for prelims who are going to prepare for 2027. Okay, now let us see here about only privileges. So we are going to see and we are going to revise this topic of privileges which had been done in your polity classes. In polity it had been done, right? And you wrote different tests also, and tomorrow there is prelims test, no? Of course you have to know about these privileges. So let us try to revise this topic of privilege today. And whenever Supreme Court give the judgment, we are going to see in depth, in detail about the series of Supreme Court judgments which gave earlier and what the present judgment said and what is the impact of that, because in UPSC mains also you may get a question on it. You are going to see even mains related dimensions also when we discussed about this judgment of Supreme Court. Okay, now let us see about these privileges. What are these privileges? Privileges are nothing but immunities or special rights which will be given for MPs and MLAs. MPs means member of parliament. MLAs means member of legislative assemblies. MPs at the central level, MLAs at state level. You know this basic idea. And they are the special rights. Okay. So which articles talks about it? We have Article 105 and Article 122 talks about central level. Article 105 talks about MPs' freedom of speech, immunity from court proceedings. Okay, and Article 122 talks about judicial review. Parliamentary members are barred from judicial review whenever they are having this parliamentary proceedings. These 2 articles are related to MPs. And in the same way, there are 2 articles which are related to MLAs at the state level. So we have Article 194 talks about state legislatures' freedom of speech and immunity for their actions in legislative assembly. And Article 212 talks about bar from judicial review whenever the proceedings are going on in this house at the state level. So we have 4 articles, 2 for central level and 2 for state level, talks about immunities. And in this privileges, we have 2 types of privileges. One is individual, one is collective. Individual means nothing but it is applied for a single MP or MLA. Collective means all the member of house, right? So these are collective and these are individual. So what are the individual privileges? These are the rights given or enjoyed by a single individual at a state level or central level. So what are those? The first one is freedom of speech. The members have the right to freely express themselves in Parliament under Article 105. And next one is they have even immunity from legal proceedings. They are protected from court action for anything said, or if they vote against or if they vote in favor in the parliamentary voting. So they are not going to attract any court proceedings. And next one is protection for publication. There will be no court proceedings can be initiated against any individual for publishing any report or papers or votes which is authorized by Parliament. And next one is there is also an exemption of judicial inquiry. And next one is very important, freedom of arrest. On this UPSC asked previous year's question on this point. So what is it exemption? If there is any civil case on member of parliament, whenever they are going to have session before 40 days and after conclusion of session after 40 days, there will be no proceedings on that person, only in the case of civil case. But in the case of criminal case, it will not apply. So on this UPSC gave a statement in previous year's question. Okay, next one is we have collective privileges. Collective means nothing but these are enjoyed collectively by the members of that house. That is called as collective privileges. In this collective privileges, what we have? Publication rights. Parliament can publish its reports, debates, proceedings, and even it can restrict to publish certain secret things. And next one here is we have secret sittings. In that secret sittings, what happens? Parliament will exclude. Parliament will not allow any stranger to come and participate in that sessions. And next one here is disciplinary actions. You know, Parliament can also punish the members for contempt. Yes. And next one is right to information. So it has the right to be informed immediately about any arrest of any member or detention, conviction, imprisonment or release of any members. So that will be given information for this all the members. Yeah, that's it guys. You can remember that. And see this next article. Yuva Shakti theme to mark 80th Independence Day. We are going to celebrate 80th Independence Day celebration. If you are having this kind of themes like 10th, 25th, 50th, 75th, 100th, 80th, 90th, UPSC can ask a question on it. So from history point of view, if you see or if you go back in this reverse engineering method and if you understand like now we are going to write like 2027 exam. So you have to go 100 years back. 1927, which event happened? And if you go 75 years back, 2027 minus 75. So in that year, what kind of movement or that year, what thing happened? And if you go back to like 125 years, 150 years, what happened? So in history, whenever you are preparing for your examination, in which year, accordingly try to go back 100 years, 75 years, 50 years and try to see which events happened in that year. Obviously, at least 2 questions you will get in that phenomena, okay, from your history especially. So here this year we are celebrating 80th Independence Day and the theme is Yuva Shakti. Whenever there is any conference or any meeting, for sure UPSC can give a statement on that theme. Even in 2026 examination also, at that time we have AI Impact Summit 2026 which held in India, in New Delhi. And they gave question on that AI Impact Summit. In that one statement is the theme. And the theme is 3 P's, people, planet and progress. But they changed 1 P with another thing. So many students didn't identify that. But if you see the PYQs of UPSC, in that year, if it is conducting any examination, CDS or anything, for sure you can understand the themes, how they are asking. Actually in 2026, they conducted even CDS exam also. In that CDS exam also, they took one summit and they changed the theme. So the students who did that and they came to know that themes will be wrong. And they applied the same knowledge here in 2026 CSC examination. So here like that, you have to understand the trend of UPSC of that year specifically. So for that reason, if UPSC is conducting any examination in that year, you have to take out the paper and you have to solve that paper. Then only you can understand which topics you are focusing on, which topics you are ignoring. At least you will be knowing like important topics. Then you can apply here. Okay. So almost the paper pattern will be similar. Around 75 questions will be like similar pattern, and if they want to trick or if they want to make somewhat difficult, they will change not more than 15 to 20 questions, but remaining pattern will be more or less same. Okay, you have to do analyze PYQs of UPSC in that fashion, and you should not miss other examinations also which is conducted by UPSC in that year. Okay, so that is the one thing that you have to follow. So here this year theme is Yuva Shakti. So UPSC can change this Shakti word with another word, or Yuva word with yoga, or like that, which will start with Y only. Okay, are you understanding? It will start with S only, but they will change with another word which looks similarly. In that tension, in that pressure, we will ignore that. Yeah, Y, yes, same. We'll go on keeping right. In that way, UPSC will make a small trap. Obviously, we'll fall in that trap. Okay, so don't fall in that kind of traps. Be careful while reading this clearly. Okay, now let us see here how UPSC can give you a question. Consider the following statements regarding 80th Independence Day. Under that, UPSC can give you 3 statements. One will be like about this theme. And next one here is, if you go to this modern history, we have India Independence Act of 1947. UPSC can give you a question on that. Consider the following statements regarding India Independence Act of 1947. Why? Because when we study this Indian national movement, we will have lots of acts like council acts we have, charter acts we have, Government of India Act of 1935, like that we have many, and it is one of the repeated theme of UPSC. Every year one question you will get from that historical background chapter of polity, and you have to go thoroughly with that. But unfortunately in 2026 there was no question. That means in 2027 pakka 100% you will be getting a question on this historical background. All acts you have to make just 1-page notes about it. So how can you make? If you solve most PYQs, then you can understand like on which area they are asking repeatedly question, and you can know like which sentences they are changing or which words they are changing. So if you do that analysis, then you will be in a right path. And many times the questions had been repeated in this historical background chapter actually. Okay, now let us see this article clearly. So we are going to celebrate this 80th Independence Day, and this time the theme is revolving around developed India. In this, especially they are focusing on indigenous technologies like 60 trails, semiconductor mission, AI. And next one is they are focusing on green transition. In this green transition, they are focusing on mission life. They are focusing on solar powered villages, green hydrogen mission. And even we are focusing on Atmanirbhar Bharat in defense. That means we have to develop our own indigenous technology and equipments. And this time there is one speciality. So every year after hoisting of the flag, Prime Minister will give Prime Minister speech, Independence Day speech, and you have to go thorough with that speech. Every year there will be at least minimum 2 questions in prelims from that speech. What are the schemes our Prime Minister will be highlighting, or else what are the points as our Prime Minister will be highlighting? On that UPSC will be giving you for sure 100% pakka 2 questions. After once that is done, I will be sharing this highlights of that speech. At least you have to go through that, okay, and you have to make the notes on that. It is very, very important case. Believe me, trust me. Every year 2 questions they will give on this. Okay, and this time actually the speech will be given in which language? Hindi. We South Indians, you know about our Hindi. Only we know thoda pyas dalo. Yes. Apart from that, we are not that much good with this Hindi, right? So here, this time they are using this Bhashini. It is AI based translator, and it will translate this Prime Minister's speech into 22 languages. so that it will be very easy for us to know what exactly our Prime Minister said in his speech. Okay, it is one update now. So whenever you are writing any answer related to the using of technology, advancements using of AI, now you can use this example also. So this time in Prime Minister's speech of Independence Day, we used this Bashni app and we translated into 22 Indian languages. Okay, so like that, whenever you're writing answer about linguistic barriers, linguistic diversity also, you can use this point. Okay, now let us see some important facts. The theme here is two major things. 150 years of Vande Mataram. Second one is Yuva Shakti for Viksit Bharat 2047. And recently related to this Vande Mataram, is there any current affairs? What is that? Bill has been passed and we are giving equal status for national anthem and national song. That means it is very important, right? And even this is also the part of our Independence Day theme. And keep star mark for this Vande Mataram. You will get for sure 101% question on this Vande Mataram in 2027 prelims. If you are good at current affairs and if you are interconnecting things and if you are well aware, you can expect minimum 20 to 25 topics on which UPSC can give you question prelims. That is 100%. Okay, next important thing that you have to remember is about India Independence Act. So just already polity is done. Just go through this polity and see this. Polity appaleda. I think if they didn't discuss here, they will discuss in modern history. So actually what happened when we got independence in year 1947 on August 15th we got independence, right? At that time we have British India. So Britishers decided to give independence to India. At that time British came up with the act called as India Independence Act of 1947. So here we have to see what are the provisions in that. They said that we are going to divide into two parts. That plan is called as Mountbatten Plan. In that two parts we have India and we have Pakistan. Pakistan got independence one day early. Yes, today is Pakistan's independence, that is 14th August. And next day we got 15th August, we got independence. What is the reason? This person only, Mountbatten, has to go there and has to come here. So he took one day time to give independence for India late. Okay, and you have to see about even one provision there. The one provision under this India Independence Act is about princely states. And in that India Independence Act, they gave permission for these princely states to join either in Pakistan, either in India. So that is the reason why that led to the conflict between India and Pakistan about this Jammu and Kashmir. Okay, that you will study in your post-independent India. What happened after we got independence, about integration of princely states and which are the powers, which are the forces or which are the operations we did to integrate them and who played very important role. Who played important role? Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel. Okay, so you will be knowing about all those scenario after 1947 in post-independent India that will be taught by your history faculty. So next history will start. Okay, next topic here is monsoon session sees multiple lows in parliament productivity. This article is talking about monsoon session. As you all know that monsoon session started and it is going to be end also. And this time, what happened? Was from the first day onwards, protest. Why? Because of paper leak, because of Chalo Sansad, because of FCRA bill, because of E20. Yes, we discussed all those things. So because of this, there is frequent disruptions. And whenever we started dealing with this monsoon session topic, we started with adjournments. Can you recall this? I said about adjournments, what is adjournment, sign die, everything. So here, whenever the session will end, we will be getting this kind of reports of productivity of that session. And now finally this is going to be end. This session is going to be end. So because of this, we got this productivity related article, efficiency of this monsoon session. And now if you see here, totally there were 12 bills passed in this parliament. And whenever we are getting assent to this 12 bills, you have to know about which bills got assent. Which bill got assent recently? Increased number of judges of Supreme Court bill got assent. It became an act. So like that, you have to make the list of what are these 12 bills passed. You have to make the note of the names of that bills and try to see which bills got assent. So which bills got assent, you have to know about that, because on that you will be getting a mains based question. I showed you question also about this paper leak related bill which had passed in 2024. In 2024 mains itself they gave the question. I showed you that question, right? In the similar format, what are the bills had been passed, you will be getting question on it. So you have to be updated. Okay. And next important point they gave here is, in Lok Sabha, only they answered 2 questions orally. See how much productivity is this time. Orally means which type of questions are there? Start question. We have 3 types of questions, right? Start, unstart, and next one is short notice questions. So for 2 start questions, they answered orally. And in Rajya Sabha, they answered around 16 questions. And next important point you need to remember is, this time the efficiency of Lok Sabha is just 19%, 19%, and Rajya Sabha is 39%. And according to this PRS Legislative Research Report, it is one of the lowest productivity from last 22 years. From last 22 years, this time we have very low productivity. So now, how UPSC will give you a question? Will it give about this percentage? What? For sure, no. How it will give question? So what will be the impact of the low productivity of the parliament? What is the power of what is the function of this parliament? They have to make the laws, no? So what is the impact of low efficiency of Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha on legislative process or law making process? How it will be having impact on our democracy? Okay, because we people are electing them. Our voice should be raised in the parliament through these members. If the efficiency is not there, means will the people problems will be addressed? For sure, no. Obviously, it will be having impact on democracy. On this way, UPSC can ask you an analysis based question in your mains. Nowhere the direct questions will be there in your mains. Don't think. They will be asking in that way indirectly, and you have to think and you have to analyze. And today's question will be on this topic. Try to think. Already polity is done. So what are the polity is there in your mind? Squeeze it out and try to write at least 5 points under that. Okay. You have to learn. If you're not learning here, no one will help you after the one's coaching is done. Say this, guys. Next one, a predictable rise. This article is talking about inflation. What did we discuss in yesterday's class? There is rising of inflation. Yes. Why there is rise of inflation? Okay. So here let us say this article. They gave huge data. Just for your understanding, for your knowledge, I'll tell in simple way. No need of remembering everything. So this article is saying that we have to maintain the target of inflation. What is that? 4 plus or minus 2%. Always we have to maintain inflation within this 4 plus or 2 minus 2%. That means 2 to 6% we have to maintain this inflation. Okay, but now we have high rate of inflation. It is around how much percent? It is around 5%, right? More than 5%. We are reaching this target of 6% approximately. So here the major reason here is, first one is food, second one is fuel, third one is transport. So these are the 3 important reasons for rise of inflation in our country. And in that food also, they gave examples of food items. Onion price increased by 22.5%. What will be the normal cost of onion per kg? Abba, మేము హాస్టల్లో ఉంటున్నాం. I don't know, ma'am. What is the normal cost of onions? 30 rupees, 30 rupees? 20, 15 only, no, normally 100 ki 5 kgs. Okay, let us take 20 rupees. So now there is 22% increase of price. Means what is the price of onion now? 22% of 20 rupees. See that? Percentages. Every year 2 questions. Come on. 22% of 20 enta? 6 IIT guys. 22% of 20 rupees. No idea. 5 rupees? Near to 5 rupees. That means 25 rupees. Very good. Good in maths. I'm getting fear now. What will you do in CSAT? Even though if you're doing good in GS, if you're getting 64 or 65, 62, 63 means it's gone. Don't underestimate this CSAT. Last batch students, they did exceptionally well in GS. 98, 102 GS. In GS they did, but CSAT 63, 64, 65, just on border. They lost their 1 year. That's why if you are weak in CSAT, start CSAT. Already we dumped videos of CSAT in your module already. Just start practicing, guys. లేకపోతే మాత్రం మళ్ళీ భయం వేస్తుంది నాకు ఇప్పుడు అడుగుతుంటే మిమ్మల్ని. Okay, next, garlic price increased by 35%. You know this garlic. Ginger price increased by 83%. So because of these three products, there is increased price of food. Without this garlic and ginger, we can't do anything, especially curries, right? And even onion is very important. So these three products cost had been increased, so that led to food inflation. And you know about this fuel because of West Asian crisis, supply decreased, increased price. Because of that, oil price increased, diesel and petrol price had been increased. And this one is transport cost is also increased. Especially transport inflation is around 7 to 7.77%. The increased cost for Rapido, Uber, everything got increased. And next one is LPG price also had been increased. That is also one reason why there is increased food price outside if you go to hotels or restaurants, etc. And next one here is monsoon is also a cause of concern, especially Western, Central and South India. They have rainfall deficit. And next one is precious metal inflation. We can see gold price increased by 32%. Silver price increased by 109.8%. 109% it had been increased. So because of this, we can say there is also inflation of precious metal also in our country. And next they said that Ukraine crisis, because of this, it affected Black Sea export. Because of this, we are not getting sunflower oil on time. Because of this, there is increased price of edible oil also. Did we discuss all these points? Before getting this article itself, we discussed every point in our yesterday's class and I make you to write a note. So the same thing which is given. So this article is mainly saying one thing, that is rupee also had been depreciated around 1.6% between June to July. That means the value of rupee is also decreasing drastically. If value of rupee is decreasing, what happened? It is a sign of weakening of our economy. But recently what happened? Monetary Policy Committee meeting held. Is there any change of interest rate? There is no change of interest rate. But here we have inflation steadily rising in our country. So now this article is saying that RBI has to take responsibility of controlling of inflation. It has to increase interest rate. Or else what happens? There will be weakening of our economy will happen. That is about this article. That's it. And see next article. Look at the title. The Constitution limits on arrest. Which article talks about arbitrary arrest? Article 22 of Indian Constitution talks about arbitrary arrest. So this article is saying that we have to examine this article 22 of Indian Constitution. Why? Because we have to ensure a balance between the authority of state and as well as liberty of the citizen. Because of this, it is there in the news. So why it is there in news? There is one recent case, that is Vihan Kumar versus State of Haryana case. In that case, Supreme Court said that arrested person must be properly and meaningfully informed the grounds of his arrest. If they fail to provide information, then that will lead to violation of Article 22 of the Constitution. So because of this, that person who had been arrested, that is police person, can be punished under Section 50 of CRPC. Okay, Supreme Court clearly said recently in 2025 case, what is that? We have to follow the procedure under this Article 22. If police person are not following this procedure, obviously they will be getting punishment under this CRPC. So because of this, yes, there is a chance of getting a question on Article 22. Article 22 talks about what? Arbitrary arrest. Okay, now next here what you have to see is what Supreme Court said in another judgment also we have to see. So here this article is saying that Article 22 of Indian Constitution says that police has to record the time of arrest and produce arrested person before a magistrate within 24 hours. And Supreme Court already gave guidelines under this Arnesh Kumar case is arrest should not be a routine. For everything we should not go for arresting of people. And it should be justified by the necessity. Only in the utmost necessity of the case, then only we have to go for arrest. Why we should not go for arrest for every case? Already you know, crimes are increasing day by day and the jails are already filled with inmates. Yes, if you are going for arresting for every case, under trial people will be increasing. Because of under trial people, there will be increased burden on jails. Already our jails occupancy rate is 131%. They are having lots of problems. There is no basic sanitation, basic space. Because of the spread of diseases, everything is happening. So because of this, arrest should be not a norm. Okay, it should be done only if it is of utmost required. Okay, that is the thing which mainly said here in this article. So now how you can get a question? Consider the following statements regarding Article 22. Already UPSC asked question on this Article 22. Again, it can be asked in 2027. So because of this, Article 19, Article 22 is important this time. Okay, if you see here under this Article 22, which is talking about arbitrary arrest, under Article 22, we have two parts. One is detain under ordinary law and one is preventive detention. You know about preventive detention when many a times we discussed about this. Now let us see about this part 1 under ordinary law. So if any person has to be arrested under the violation of ordinary law, so what is the process should be followed by the police? The first one is whenever this police goes to that person and whenever he arrests that person, at that time the police officer need to be informed what are the grounds of arrest, why we are arresting you, on which case, what is the accusation on you. We have to let him know, the first one. And second one here is whatever the crime or incident on which we are arresting that person, we have to let him know whether it is a bailable offence or non-bailable offence. Bailable offence means they can consult a lawyer and they can get a bail. Do you know this bail and non-bailable offence? Yes, bailable offence we have to let him know that is a bailable offence. You can go to a lawyer and you can get your bail. And next one here is within 24 hours they have to be presented before the nearby court. So these are the things we have to follow. Without producing in the court, they should not be detained for more period. So only if they want to keep under detention, they have to get court order. And next one here is this article applied for only citizens or it can be applied for non-citizens also? Non-citizens also. Okay, and what are the exceptions here? If any person who had been arrested under this preventive detention, then there is no need of explaining about this process. And this one is if you are arresting any person who is from enemy country, then there is no need of following this process. So in these two cases we have exemptions. On these exemptions UPSC can ask you a question. Okay, see these practice questions. The first one is with reference to Article 22, consider the following statements. First one is an arrested person has the right to consult and be defended by a legal practitioners of their choice. And as the right to consult a legal practitioner is available to person arrested under preventive detention without any constitutional limitation. A person arrested must be informed on the grounds of arrest. For sure 3 will be there. What about second one? Is that available for preventive detention? No, they have to be silent. So 2 we can eliminate. Answer is 1 and 3. Okay. And see this next question. Consider the following statements regarding Article 105 of Indian Constitution. First one, Article 105 deals with the powers, privileges and immunities of Parliament and its members. Freedom of speech and speech in Parliament is subjected to provisions of the Constitution and rules and standing orders regulating parliamentary procedures. Next one is freedom of speech in Parliament is exactly as same as freedom of speech guaranteed under Article 19. That speech is different, this speech is different, right? Okay, so 3 will be not there in our option. So answer will be 1 and 2. So like that, try to read statements clearly and try to answer polity questions with caution. Okay, because extreme words will not work in this polity, right? That's all guys. By this I'm concluding. Thank you so much for watching. And if you like this video, please do hit the like button and please do share this video to your friends. And if you want to join either anthropology course or GS foundation course, please do contact us on this number 8074765513. And I wish you all the best. Thank you so much guys.